Coming up on Mountain News at 6, we're learning more about an officer-involved shooting in Laurel County. And 2 Eastern Kentucky legislators have filed a bill aimed to help volunteer fire departments.
And enjoy the sunshine because we are tracking some changes later this week. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
A police chase in Laurel County led to an officer-involved shooting. One man was reportedly hospitalized as a result. Police say no officers were hurt. The shooting happened in the Lilly community. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to an eyewitness.
Aline Sidesmore was at her home when she heard sirens. She then looked outside.
About that time, as I saw the blue lights turning on our road coming down the hill, and they were chasing a gold Trailblazer, and it was going at a high rate.
Sizemore says the suspect then flew into her driveway.
I thought the rate he was going to go through my house, so I jumped back from my window.
The chase ended in Sizemore's front yard. The impact so intense, she said, mud splattered onto her home. Sizemore says she started hearing gunfire.
The gunfire, it seemed like it went on forever. They actually asked me how many bullets I heard. I couldn't tell you.
The suspect was shot and later taken to the hospital. Sizemore says police remained on the scene for several hours.
They brought all their lights in. There were 15 cop cars that we counted at one time that was here most of the night.
Sizemore says she shook all evening after the incident. She says police left the scene sometime around 2:30 Monday morning. In Laurel County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Police tell us charges are pending until the suspect is released from the hospital. His name has not been released yet. One person is dead after a single car crash in Pike County. It happened yesterday evening on Highway 194 East in the Stopover community. Police say 52-year-old Billy McFarland of Mouthcard was driving a 2013 Dodge Ram when they say he went off the road and over an embankment. McFarland was pronounced dead at the scene by the Pike County Coroner's Office. 2 people are dead after a house caught fire in Letcher County. Officials with the Neon Fire Department were dispatched to the scene around 10:30 Friday night. The bodies of 78-year-old Mary Alice Adams and 59-year-old Jeffrey Lynn Sexton, both of Jackhorn, were recovered Saturday morning. Both Adams and Sexton were pronounced dead at the scene by the Letcher County coroner. Their bodies were taken to the state medical examiner's office in Frankfort for an autopsy. No foul play is suspected. We have an update on a story about a crash that happened on Interstate 75 in Whitley County last week, a deadly one. Charges were amended today for Matthew Crowley and Jana Vorwerk after both were charged with murder initially in the death of a 2-year-old. A judge amended those charges to facilitation. Police say Crowley was driving when he hit another car. A child from that car was thrown from the vehicle. Both Crowley and Vorwerk face other charges as well. The case was sent to a grand jury. A Pulaski County man is behind bars after police say he reportedly struck someone in the head and face. It happened last week when deputies with the sheriff's office responded to a call at a home in the Bronston community. A victim told police she had been struck in the face and the back of the head by 26-year-old Matthew New. The victim also says New hit her in the head with a piece of broken furniture. New was taken to the Pulaski County Detention Center. A Tennessee man is behind bars after police say he was reportedly involved in a hit and run in Laurel County. 38-year-old Sam Culp of Nashville is facing several charges, including first-degree assault and DUI. Officials with Williamsburg police say the hit and run happened on Hicks Lane near London. They say Culp hit a woman following an argument, then left the scene. Police caught up with him and later arrested him. The condition of the victim is not known. An Owsley County mother accused of assaulting her child was in court today. Alexis Powell had a not guilty plea entered for her this morning. Deputies say she burned her child's feet as a way of punishment for misbehaving. A grand jury indicted her last month. She's charged with assault, endangering the welfare of a minor, criminal abuse, and wanton endangerment. She's due back in court March 4th.
Well, we are on sunset watch on this Monday evening. Check out this beautiful image from Southwest Virginia at UVA-Wise. That current temperature sitting at 50 as once again we are dry under a clear sky as the sun sets on this Monday, all thanks to high pressure that is parked over the central parts of the country. So we are tracking some more dry weather as we go into this evening. Those current temperatures still mild. Highs should be in the 40s. Most of us right now still in the 50s and a few 60s, up to 60 for Manchester, 59 for Harlan, 57 for London, and 52 over in Pikeville at this hour. Now those lows are chilly as you wake up on Tuesday. Once the sun sets and we have a clear sky, those temperatures are going to tumble, and most of us wake up close to or below freezing in the upper 20s and lower 30s. But a copy and paste forecast is on the way for Tuesday, Wednesday. More dry and sunny weather on tap, but we are tracking a few changes by Thursday, Friday, and the weekend. That full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. 2 Eastern Kentucky senators filed a bill aimed at better supporting volunteer fire departments. WYMT's R.J. Johnson spoke with one of the senators and a firefighter about how this bill could help if passed.
Last week, Senators Johnny Turner and Philip Wheeler filed Senate Bill 141, a bill Wheeler says can better support volunteer fire departments in rural areas.
The purpose of running for the Senate and being a state legislator is to really try to help rural Kentucky. That's where I'm from. That's where I've grown up.
Public Information Officer for Corbin Fire, Nathan Kirby, says he was also a volunteer firefighter, and he has seen a decrease in the number of staff.
Almost everybody on our department volunteers somewhere in their home department. I was a volunteer at a fire department for about 7 years, and I was a volunteer in the time frame where I saw that the roster of members went from 50 to 40 to 30 over time.
He says there needs to be change implemented to help these departments across the Commonwealth.
So anything that they can come up with that's going to increase the roster numbers and the people joining volunteer fire departments is going to be a net positive for a community. There needs to be an incentive for volunteer firefighters. The incentive of just a sense of community with the younger generation just isn't enough anymore. And being a volunteer firefighter, there are some expenses that the public doesn't think about.
Wheeler says this is an effort of better protecting first responders and people that depend on them.
For folks protecting us, we need to also protect them and make sure that they're taken care of for the services that they provide to our communities.
In Corbin, R.J. Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Wheeler says he and Senator Turner hope this bill is passed to improve recruitment and retention within these departments. The bill has been sent to the Appropriations and Revenue Committee. More than a month into the 2024 legislative session, one state senator wants to make changes to Kentucky's education system. Republican Senator Lindsey Tishner filed 6 bills in one day, all focused on what she says will strengthen Kentucky's education system, from requiring cursive writing starting in elementary schools in 2025 to increasing the presence of parents in school leadership.
Our school system as a whole is top heavy in administration. From the Kentucky Department of Education down, we have seen a lot of growth in our administrative roles, and parents are starting to pay a lot more attention to what their students are learning in schools.
Another of the bills, Senate Bill 171, would change the rules for a school board's ability to remove a superintendent. Right now, 4/5 of a school board must vote to remove the superintendent. You can read more about this at WYMT.com. Police officers across the Commonwealth are required a lot of training, but what about situations an officer is tasked to learn through experience? Hazard Police Department officers are getting that experience through real-life scenarios, ensuring they're trained for any task coming their way. WYMT's Olivia Calfee explains.
It is a response to resistance simulation training that hazard police officers say can bring roughly any possible situation to life.
It helps especially younger officers that haven't been doing it as long. It takes the what if out. They can come in here in a controlled environment, in a simulated environment, and we can put them through high stress scenarios and see how they would react.
HPD officer Michael Ritchie says the trainings range from traffic stops and welfare checks to a movie theater shooting, giving every officer the chance to learn and train from a large number of possible scenarios.
Everything we do in this system, it has a bunch of scenarios in it. There's hundreds. It's skill-based. Basically, it's good training. It's a refresher, and it puts us in a real-life simulated events that could occur from a day-to-day basis, from patrol to tactics to whatever we do at this job.
And as Richie explains, police departments across the country are also utilizing many of the same scenarios as they were created from recent real-life events.
I will put you through the simulated scenario. Afterwards, we'll justify your actions. We'll go over some KRS, and then we'll watch the video pertaining to why the simulation was even created. All those 2023 scenarios and 2022 scenarios had real-life events based. That's why they were created. You can watch the actual body cams and dash cams.
And HPD officials say they get the system once a year for approximately 3 weeks, getting their officers in the training room as much as possible. In Hazard, Olivia Calfee, WYMT Mountain News.
Richie says not only does this training system benefit their department, but it also is beneficial to folks in the community as well.
Well, high pressure will stay in control through the middle of the week, but we are tracking some more changes by Thursday, Friday, and the weekend. Those details coming up after this break.